at 97.7 KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas. This is the Bitcoin Otter, bringing you the Bitcoin Otter, the station manager, production guy, and all around jack of all trades on radio, Joe Martinez. And we are glad to be back. We were missing last week, and that was all on me. It was not on Joe. But we're back, and we're ready to do what we need to do to get you informed, to tell you what it is we are, or later on in life, what it is we want to learn about. And for those of you that are just joining us, this is the Bitcoin Otter Show. And I'm starting out a little different today. Everybody, I think, knows, anybody who's watched the show before knows that the Bitcoin Otter PMA, it's a private membership association, is some sort of compliance with whatever they would have, some sort of police force that will regulate, that will demand some sort of compliance out of you, that you must believe what they believe or else. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. But when I bring up the fact that the Bitcoin Otter, I want you to know that my faith is in Jesus Christ. That doesn't mean that you have to believe in Jesus. You don't have to believe in God the Father. You don't have to believe in anything I believe in. That's the awesomeness of God. He respects the sanctity of our free will and our own ability to believe or not to believe what it is He says. So when I say that, I want to start this week's show off with a few simple words from the Bible. And it basically says in John 8:32, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Sorry about that. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So with that, I would like to start with what we usually do, which is blessings. I want to send a blessing out to all of you that are listening, all of you that are about to get on the Facebook show, get on the radio and listen to us out of McAllen, 97.7 KCYP, the city. Those of you that are watching us on YouTube, on the KCYP 97.7 channel on YouTube, or Radio Garden on the app. And Lord willing, we'll be coming out with some other venues for the show. But what I would like to, I guess, expound upon, I want to expand this, that, again, your beliefs are yours. I'm no one to tell you what you can and cannot believe. And no one else should be able to tell you that either. So I'll get on that bandwagon a little bit later. However, just so you know, gold, when I was doing the show prep, was $1,917. So $1,917 will get you an ounce of gold. Silver, $23.69. So 23 Federal Reserve notes with 19 cents, or I'm sorry, 69 cents will get you an ounce of silver. And Bitcoin, if you have about $21,000, 21,000 Federal Reserve notes, you too can get some Bitcoin. So in my estimation, that means Bitcoin is 21,000 times, at least now, better than the Federal Reserve note. So, carrying on quickly, I know we don't all have all day, and I'm really enjoying this show. And we got Jaime on. Jaime, how you doing? Right now I'm seeing the comments. I'm not possibly able to see some of them once they pop up. A bunch of people get on, but we got Jaime now. Hope you're doing well, brother. So, a little bit of crypto news, and everybody knows about that FTX, and we've done that in a couple shows. A couple shows back, we went on the adventure, that is the FTX adventure that Sam Bankman-Fried took us on with all the fraud and the things that he did to make it so that people had a lot less money before they knew FTX than after they did, certainly. So one of the other things that is going on with crypto, and there are a million things going on, it's ever changing, as probably stocks and markets are. But there's another scam to look out for, okay? And before I go into this scam, and there are a lot of scams, right? We all know this. Yeah, there are crypto scams, but remember that the first scams were done with probably rocks, beads, anything that humans sought after, anything that humans thought were valuable. were stolen from them by other humans. So let's not get on this kick and fool ourselves that because it's automatically cryptocurrency, that it's all automatically a scam, that anyone involved in cryptos has got to be looking, to steal from you. There are many. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are many. I'm not going to deny that. But so are there many who want to steal your Federal Reserve notes from your bank. They want to know the passwords to your email accounts. They want to know the passwords to your bank account. They want to know the passwords to everything because, well, they want those greenbacks. Yeah, they want those Federal Reserve notes. So let's not fool ourselves into thinking that it's only cryptocurrency that has this issue. It's not. That said, Gemini earns customers. Gemini Earn, I'm sorry. That was their name for their investment wing. Okay, so Gemini is a cryptocurrency. It's an exchange. It's many different things, but they offered the ability for you to buy in with your Federal Reserve notes to their Gemini platform, and then they would allow you to earn interest on the cryptos that you bought with them. Problem is, they kind of don't anymore. But they got everybody's money that put it in. That's the rub. There's the rub, right? So, if anybody's watched this show, if anybody is in any type of familiarity with cryptocurrency, you're going to know the number one rule of cryptos, which is own your cryptos. Have custody of your cryptos. Don't let somebody else have it, even if there's interest attached. It's attractive. I know the guy who was interviewed for the article was earning over 8% interest on the money that he deposited. I think it was like $17,000 or something like that. But unfortunately, he's now out that $17,000 and the interest that he was earning, because the problem with these scams is they're not going to give your money back. You might accrue interest, but all it is really are blips on a screen, which unfortunately I think might be the case for many of us in our retirement accounts, that we look at them now and we see them as blips on a screen. If the bleeding doesn't stop, if the inflation doesn't stop, if the people destroying our economy don't back off, then, well, that's all they're ever going to be is blips on a screen, and they won't translate from the hard work and time that we've put into them into something that will pay off in our retirement. And that is a concern. But I digress. So this Gemini outfit robbed people of their income, robbed people of what it is they put in it hoping to get something out of it. And isn't that why we do everything in life? Don't we put into things that we hope to get something out of them? Even the unhealthy things, right? When we eat a candy bar, we know, we probably shouldn't have that with, like a Coke and a pound of ice cream. We do it anyway. What are we going to get out of it? Well, momentary pleasure because it's fun. We all like it, right? But then, we tend to get fat and all that good stuff, or not so good stuff. So the pleasure is short-lived. That said, the pleasure that this guy had, gaining 8%, was short-lived. And it all comes down to the point where he didn't own his crypto. George, good to see you. George is on watching us. And all those that I don't have their name on Facebook, I appreciate you watching. We have the show number. Joe, what's our show number again?
956-789-0702.
956-789-0702 is our number. Call, participate, argue with me, agree with me, whatever you'd like to do, because, hey, there's still a little bit of freedom left in America, and we'd like to say it's here on the Bitcoin Otter Show also. So, there's not a ton going on that I think you'd be interested in crypto right now. We're still somewhat in a low market, though I must say that in the intervening 2 weeks between the last show and this one, Bitcoin has gone upside, pretty significantly. It's around 21,000 now. It was 16 something the last show that we had. So we're seeing a bump. Does this mean that we're gonna, hit that apex the way we all want to see? Are we gonna see a huge increase in the price and value of Bitcoin? Not yet. I think we're still good buying it. Just buy, dollar cost average, as they say, but be your own judge. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just here to hopefully help people find an off-ramp when it gets really tough. Because unfortunately, I believe it's going to get tough. Perhaps sooner than later, based on some of these economic numbers that are coming out, especially from the Fed when they just keep raising rates. So, if you see me fiddling down, what I'm doing is refreshing my phone here. I've got my notes on my phone because I don't have them written. I know I'm old school, right? I usually like them on my phone, and on paper, and I will continue to do that. However, we're on the phone today, ladies and gents. So, here's something that I'd like to inform you on that you may or may not have seen, but you can look it up. So there's a woman on Twitter. She calls herself Protective Mama Bear. Okay? And she put out this video, I think it was yesterday, and I watched it. So on this video, it's taken, I think it's on TikTok. It's taken by a man who goes into the lobby of a Bank of America franchise. Seems very concerned, and he comes out right away with what he's concerned about. And if I remember correctly, the number was $1,200, $1,200 that he had missing. Yes, I say again, missing from his Bank of America account. So this is missing money from his Bank of America account. And when you see him walk into the lobby, you see that there are others, many others, that are there for the same reason. They're missing money. Now, I don't have all the details. If you have any details, put them in the comments. We'll see, and we'll see what we have here. Jaime, you put in a comment. I'm sorry, I just missed it. It rolled up. We got Jacob on, and he's asking about the future of Shiba Inu. Okay, I'm gonna sidestep from this Bank of America public service announcement for a minute to say, Jacob, I don't really follow Shiba. Not to say it's not going to do you well someday, but I tend not to follow it because, in my opinion, it doesn't have what's called a use case. For those who don't really follow cryptos much, a use case. It doesn't tend to make people's lives better if they don't invest in it and gain on the upside. So I don't really follow it, but I appreciate the question. I mainly follow high use cases like Bitcoin, the first and best decentralized store of value in the world that the banks can't take over, can't control, etc. And one of my biggest favorites that everybody's heard before on this show is Theta. They're all about broadband network sharing, peer-to-peer. Going to make it so that some kid in Mumbai who's never had internet before will get it on his phone because someone is running one of their nodes on their computers as a hotspot. So, yeah, those are my favorite projects, and I have a few others that I follow, but I'm sorry I don't follow Shiba, but thank you again for the question. Jaime, come up again with yours. I saw it for a second there, but it scrolled up. So let me get back to that Bank of America thing. So again, it was on Twitter, if you have it, Protective Mama Bear. So she put out this TikTok video of a guy, I don't know what his name was. But he came out and he was rather alarmed, as you or I would be too, if we had to go to our bank to find out why money was missing, and then only to realize that there's other people that have money missing from Bank of America also. Now, am I telling you to close your account from Bank of America? No, I'm not. I'm not the guy who runs your finances, thank God. I'm not that guy. So, what is it that I'm getting at? I'm getting at the uncomfortable and convenient fact that I believe this is going to happen more often, especially with the larger banks. Why? Otter, what are you talking about? Why? I like Chase. I like J.P. Morgan. I like Citibank. I like Wells Fargo. I like all these places. Well, that's great. And this is a free country. You can put your money anywhere you want to put your money. That said, I think that based on some economic indicators that I would just kind of sound pompous spouting off, you can do that research yourself. I'm pretty confident that people who watch this show are intelligent enough to track down something when they're determined to do so. So based on many economic indicators, that especially the Federal Reserve is throwing out. I'm getting the idea that banks, big and small, are going to have difficulty. The difference between a big bank and a small bank when difficulty comes is that the small banks have less to do to get themselves back into a financially responsible position. The bigger banks have a lot more to do. It's a much heavier lift for them. And the easiest thing to lift is from your account. Yeah. And that's me. You don't have to believe that. I'm not forcing my beliefs on you. I'm just saying that's certainly the way it seems. Is that the easiest lift for any of them is just to grab from you. Oh, anyway, so I figured I'd tell you that. If anybody else has any news about that, please email me. Okay, you can email Bitcoin Otter at bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Anytime you want. I might not get back to you right away, but I will get back to you. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. So, the other thing that I want to let you know about, and I know you know about it because it's in the news, are scandals. Okay, so we all like to talk about this, consider and compare, right? So, the scandal a while back was that guy, right, that Donald Trump character, he had the nerve to have classified documents at his home in Mar-a-Lago. So, the powers that be, they don't like people, even though he was a president and at any time could have said, you know what, these classified documents are now unclassified. And I'm sure he did. Nonetheless, classified documents were at his home. So they went in, they told him to do certain things, like safeguard it, put a lock on it, which he did. But that wasn't enough. No, ladies and gents, that was not enough, because he had classified documents in his home. Now, I'm sure all of you know where I'm going with this, right? So they sent the FBI in. The FBI evacuated everyone from the house. Basically, kicked a man out of his own home, which don't ever think they'll hesitate to do that with you. So they kicked him out of his house. They took all what they thought was, confidential documents, and they took his passports, and they took some other stuff too. But that's the FBI, right? That's what they did. So we now find out that there's another guy with classified documents in at least one of his homes, and I think more than one. This guy's name is, I don't know, Joe, what's that guy's name? I think his name's Joe too. Joe Biden! Joe Biden! That's the guy! Yeah, this guy, his name is Joe Biden. I don't know, you guys may or may not have heard of him. But he has classified documents in one or more of his homes. And I think they found up to 4 or 5 or 6, I don't know what the number's up to, treasure troves of classified documents. So our next question, Joe, is what? Okay, so what's the FBI done? What have they done? Did they kick the door in? No. The FBI made a very decisive action and very brave on their part. They basically said that the Biden family lawyers can go in and they can sort it out. Yeah, the Biden family lawyers. Just like if it was your house, Joe, that the Martinez family lawyers, because I know you got a ton of them on retainer, right? The family lawyers could come in and sort all that stuff out for you if you ever were to be found with classified documents in your home. The FBI would not be interested at all because they're very fair. They're above board, and that's the way they do things. So, knowing what we know about these classified documents, I'd like to bring up a couple other things that are, I guess, twists or folds, wrinkles in this story. So there's a Chinese company out there, and if anyone knows anything about China, they know that there is really no privately owned corporations in China. They're all part of, on a greater or smaller scale, the Communist Party. So this company called CEFC is a Chinese company, which automatically means that it's also part of the Communist Party, right? So the New York Post says that this company was paying Hunter Biden, $50,000 a month. So whatever the genius that was in the crack-addled son of the resident.
Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah. He was getting paid 50 grand a month, Joe, to do whatever it was, filling crack pipes or whatever he was doing for that company. Whatever, practice they needed that he could, he was an expert at. They were paying him 50 grand a month for that. Now, coincidentally, and this is pure coincidence, this number was the exact number that was charged for rent by his daddy. The big guy was charging Hunter Biden 50,000. Yeah, 50. It's coincidence, everybody. I'm amazed that anyone would think there'd be any form of bias or anything that would be wrong or shady in this. There's nothing there. So this is the same house that had multiple caches of classified documents that I'm sure their family lawyers are working on, Joe. You don't have to lose any sleep. Their family lawyers are all over this. So here are some other headlines. This is from Breitbart. While addicted to drugs, cavorting with prostitutes, and making deals with businessmen tied to the highest levels of Chinese intelligence, Hunter Biden lived in the house where Joe Biden stored classified documents. Yes, that was a real, a real headline. A real live headline from Breitbart. I often say that the most unoriginal place, town, business in America, perhaps in the world, is Hollywood. But when I see these things, I literally have to say to myself, sometimes you can't make this stuff up. How could you make this stuff up? How could you prognosticate this turn of events? What would it be? What would it take for a human being to be able to predict that these things were going to happen, and then they literally happen? Anyway, so another thought comes to mind, Joe. What are the chances that some of those communist Chinese representatives that Hunter was doing business with, from the CEFC or any other corporation owned by China, right? What are the chances they got to look at those classified docs? I mean, if you're in the wheeling and dealing Chinese communist business, it's probably like any other. You got to wine and dine, You got to get some ladies over for the hot tub soiree. You got to get some champagne, some hors d'oeuvres. You got to wine and dine these people. And if you're paying 50 grand a month for a house, you might as well do it there, because that's probably a great house. So my thoughts are, do you think maybe some of those Chinese guys maybe wandered out to the garage behind Joe's Corvette and looked at the stash of documents that would give away secrets that the U.S. military wouldn't want the Chinese communists to know? That's something I think about. Do you think maybe something like that happened? Maybe on a side deal, Hey Hunter, here's a rock. Go forget about me. I'm going to wander around the house for a little bit, okay? I'm going to see what you and your dad got around here. So, as you can imagine, I'm sure some secrets were bought. But again, who knows? So, moving on from that fiasco, we're going to move on to a more, how would you say, worldly fiasco. And the reason I say this is a worldly fiasco is that Davos in Switzerland is the home of the meeting of this worldly group, okay? This worldly group that calls itself the World Economic Forum. So the World Economic Forum every year meets in Davos, Switzerland, and I think they're either still there or they were this whole week and they're leaving, whatever. But these are the types of people that set the agenda for world events, world economies, rules, regulations, etc., in any way to hamper the free expression of you or I, the average person. That's just what they do. So this is where this is where the parasite class meets. So the parasite class are those groups of people that fly private jets, are billionaires, which there's nothing wrong with that. you're a billionaire if you fly a private jet or you don't. Just having billions of dollars does not give you the right to tell other people how to live. Now, of course, in their defense, they don't believe that you or I are anywhere near the threshold that would need to be met to be called human. So we to them are subhuman, and I guess I don't have to make an apology for that, but that's just how they think. So perhaps in their psychotic minds, that you or I really, we don't count, because we're subhuman. They're the real human beings, and this was actually said that they're superhuman beings. I think it was that imbecile Gore said that they're superhuman beings, and because they're taking care of the environment. Yeah, sure they are. So in Davos, they're discussing how to rob, terrorize. These are my words, by the way. This is not a headline, unless you want to make it one. They're there to discuss how to rob, terrorize, hassle, and eradicate the rest of humanity. Because, ladies and gentlemen, they don't like you. It's worse than that. They hate you. They hate you. They don't like you. They don't want you around. All they want to do is suck your life, your energy, and whatever money seems to fall between the cracks of their private jet seats onto the ground below, ends up. So, they're planning on how to get that. Now, none of the participants, regardless of national origin, have any allegiance to any country because they're worldly people. Yes. So, what are some of them that they announced this year? Clowns. So, they're telling us that these coastal homes are going to be underwater, yet these people just keep buying them. They keep buying them. They don't believe their own religion. You can use things. Facebook, I apologize. I see you going in and out. Sorry for that. We're now on the subject of gas stoves and how the people at Davos, the World Economic Forum, don't want you to have that anymore. You can't have a gas stove. They say it causes asthma in kids. Asthma. Yeah. Very, very difficult for them to breathe around gas stoves, apparently. It's been, a century or so, but not anymore. Anyway, so we got to ban those stoves, ladies and gents. We got to ban those stoves. It has nothing to do with the fact that if you're on an electric stove and they cut off your electricity, your family can't cook. That has nothing to do with it, okay? Those parasite people, they don't eradicate gender inequality. They make sure that there is a bevy, yes, a veritable bevy of sex workers for every Davos conclave. Yes, Joe, that's how they do it. They want to make sure every gender is represented. So those are the people that are at Davos. Those are the people. So here's the headline for that. Demand for sex work skyrockets each year at the meeting of the world leaders and business tycoons who jet in from all around the world to rub shoulders with each other. Hence, gotta have sex workers. You gotta have a lot of. So, what else do we want to talk about? The United States dollar, the Federal Reserve note was backed by gold. A certain amount of gold could be given to you by. Now that went away, I believe, in 1972. To put into these efforts, we will use to protect you if you sell oil in only U.S. dollars. I think those were their words. Don't quote me on that, Joe. But basically, they which you would imagine is fair. Aren't we all about fair? Aren't we all about inclusion? The Federal Reserve is not. But apparently, Saudi Arabia is. So they're going to include other nations and their currency. Perhaps even Bitcoin. Who knows? I know that Russia is offering to settle in Bitcoin for their energy, be it oil, liquid natural gas, whatever. They're willing to do that. So the U.S. Death grip, if you will, on the oil industry is pretty much gone. It doesn't mean good things. You can look it up yourself. I won't harangue you with that any longer. But if you're interested in what's going to happen to the U.S. dollars that are in your bank, look up the Federal Reserve and its history. That said, home buyers, this is from Zero Hedge. Home buyer cancellation rates are higher now than they were in the darkest days of 2008. Now, if you remember, if you're old enough, 2008 was the big crash, the bubble, the real estate bubble burst. And the signals were there in 2006. They were there in 2007. Nobody cared. We all bought homes, and bam! 2008, the crash came, and a lot of people lost a lot of homes and a lot of money. Now, that being said, cancellation rates. This is now. Cancellation rates. These are people who signed onto a mortgage. They signed onto a home loan. And the rates of that cancellation, of that deal that they brokered into and said, hey, I put up earnest money or whatever you want to call it. I put this up and I can't go through with the deal. Those cancellation rates rose from 35%. So over a third of the contracts signed onto to buy a home were broken. Okay? In the third quarter of 2022. That rate rose to 68%. Almost 3 in 4 of deals that were signed to sell a house were broken by the people who were going to buy that house in the fourth quarter of 2022. So, rates during the 2008 housing crash were around 47%. So the rate of people backing out of real estate contracts to buy a home or a property during the biggest real estate crash that we have known were about 47% in 2008. Ladies and gents, they were 68% by the end of 2022. Almost 3 in 4 homes, the contracts to purchase homes, were broken. So, the subtext to that article says, and there's even more new homes coming in 2023. Because even as builders have cut back on starts, they're still building nearly 800,000 single-family homes, actively under construction. Near the highest level of all time, Joe. 800,000 homes are in construction, under construction, or in plans to be constructed right now. Many of which will hit the market in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are thinking about buying a home, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not any of those things. I don't pretend to be. I don't want to be. But what I will tell you is, you may want to think about purchasing a home. You may want to think about it. You may want to look it up. You may want to research. You may want to find out if that's what you want to do at this point in time. Just saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I can say. That's my advice. Not professional and not financial. Just a little bit of my 2 cents. Now, that said, the reason why, and you might be wondering, wait a minute, Otter, that's off. That can't be the case. We're off here. Here's what they're doing, and this was in the article. I wasn't going to read it word for word. Apparently, the housing market is done using a lag effect, meaning they're using old data. And somehow their formula has worked for them for years. However, with the clown world we live in now, almost nothing is the same. Almost nothing is what we have traditionally believed it was, known it to be as what it was. Things are so much different now, ever since 2020 and the pandemic, that it industries that have pretty much begun to, and I'm just looking at everybody that's on here. We got people coming on here, joining the broadcast. And here we go. Sue's on. Sue's on. We're adding her here. Okay. Glad to see you, Sue. Okay. So we got Johnny's on. We got George is on. They're back on. Sorry about that. I'm ruining the whole thing here. Herman's on. So what I was saying was that industries are not the same way. Industries are not as they were when we grew up. Their formulas for success are not working anymore. So we have them building the better part of 1 million single-family homes to be sold in 2022, when at the end of, or 2023, they're going to sell them. They're currently building or planning to build these 800,000 homes in 2023, when at the end of 2022, 68% of the deals, the contracts that were made to buy a home, were backed out of. They were cut off. I don't know. They probably lost their earnest money, whatever you call it. But ladies and gents, the real estate market is reeling. That's a pun, I guess. Unintended, of course. But nobody's telling you about it. Where did I get this from? The Real Estate Ninja. He also has his more popular show is the Economic Ninja. I've told you about him before. When I come up with these things, Leo, you're on. Good to see you. Everybody, thank you. Thank you for coming on. Eddie, sorry that I didn't get you all. A shout out. Arnie, good to see you. So, the Economic Ninja is something you can watch. It's 7-8 minutes, simple, each episode. X22 report. You can listen to the geopolitical stuff. I don't, excuse me, I don't hide these things because I think they're important. I want you to be able to get information for yourself. Decide for yourself. Is it true? Is it a lie? Are they putting me on? I don't know. You be the judge. But this is serious stuff, especially for people who want to enter into the endeavor to buy a home. What happens when 68% of people are backing out of buying homes, and in order to sign a contract, you have to be approved. You have to be in the position to buy a home. So these are not people who are just joking around. These are people who were approved, were able to buy a home. They backed out. 68% of them at the end of 2022 backed out, right? So now they're going to make another 800,000 brand new homes for 2023. Do you want to buy a house in January 2023 right now at the prices they're at? That's up to you. You make the call. I'm just here to provide some information for you, give you something to scratch at, to dig at, to tear up mentally, logically, plan. If you're going to put out all that money to a bank somewhere for a mortgage, think about it. Don't believe me. Don't go by what I'm saying. I'm not a pro. I'm just trying to put this information out there, and hopefully it'll help somebody. So it's about 6 o'clock, and as we normally do when I can remember it, I'm in my 50s, I take the advice of my good friend Joe, who says that when you're getting towards the end of the show, you recap what you've done. So I'm going to talk about Protective Mama Bear, who told us that people are flocking in a video. People are flocking to Bank of America because they're missing money taken out of their accounts. I don't know if they got it back. Don't know. Next, we talked about the CEFC, which is a Chinese company that owns at least part of the Biden family. And $50,000 a month, I guess, could get you part of Hunter if you want any part of him. I don't want any part of him. Even if I had 50,000, I forget I said that. So yeah, that's where they found the the classified documents in Joe's home. So Davos, where all the parasites go every year of the World Economic Forum to figure out new ways to suck the lifeblood, money, and energy from us. Oh, and to feed us bugs. They want us to eat bugs and not to use gas stoves. It sounds like I'm joking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joking. I'm not going to be funny. I guess I am a little. But laugh or you cry. Laugh or you cry. Saudi Arabia, any other, or will be accepting any other currency besides, U.S. dollar. They'll do whatever they want. And of course, what we just went over, the home contract cancellations up to 68% fourth quarter 2022. So, as I started in the beginning, I told you that the Bitcoin Association, of which all of you can be a member, got a website now, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. In our association, we are a faith-based association, and I would like to, as we began the show, end the show on a note from the good book, okay? And this one I think pertains to pretty much all the stuff we talk about, not the criminal stuff, of course, but what is being done to us and what we can do in return. So 1 Peter 4:10 says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So it talks about our gifts. Now, I would like to think that I have a gift to communicate with people, not because I'm smarter than anyone, but because I know how to read, and I can read what smart people say. And when I hear what smart people say, I then get the idea to share it with other smart people, you, all of you. So I'm not saying that if you follow me, you're smart, and if you don't, you're not smart. What I am saying is use your brains, use your intelligence, use your logic to figure out what it is that's going on in this clown world we live in, and how it is you can escape, perhaps, if you believe what I'm telling you about this Davos crowd, World Economic Forum. If you they are as I described them to be, then you can take measures to protect yourself and your family from them. And that's basically why I'm here, to show you how you can do that. And one of the ways I believe you can do that is with Bitcoin. That's just me. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to buy any. But I'm here if you do want to. I can coach you in that. Hold your hand through all the steps. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Well, I appreciate everybody on Facebook Live, on YouTube, 97.7 FM, KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas. Thank you very much if you're listening to us on the way home. Thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Give us some feedback. We'll bring we'll have thank you, Jay. Question on the Shiba. Don't follow it, and I certainly wouldn't want to give out any information that would lead someone astray in something that I'm really or up to date on. But thank you anyway for the participation. Thank you, Jaime, for being on. Thanks everybody for that tuned in, and God bless you truly. God bless you. He is going to win in the end, no matter what shenanigans our enemy plays, no matter what strategies he employs. No weapon formed against us can prosper, and we have God's word on that, and his is the best. Thank you very much. We're going to sign out now. We love you. We're with you. God bless America. Have a great day. The Otter's out.